Hello, this is Kuda's tutorial for how to add the Koiti bits onto a existing Kuda's Feline package, whether you purchased it and intend to use the feline itself, but also want to add the Koiti bits on, or if you just want to make a Koiti yourself. What we're going to do first is we're going to open up a new Unity package. We're going to call this one Koiti tutorial and create. This will take a moment to compile a new project, especially depending on your own computer specs. Okay, so we have a new Unity project. What we're going to do first is we're going to import the Kuda's Feline SDK 3 package into this project. I'm going to make sure to import all of the assets provided. Again, this may take a moment depending on your computer specs. We'll reload the sample scene. And now we have all of the Kuda's Felines SDK 3 package in our project. What I recommend doing before you start anything else is importing the Vrchat Sdk into the package. I prefer putting in the Vrchat Sdk before the dynamic bone. I don't know if there's any other... This is just the way that I do it. It works for me. We're going to import this. This is also, as of this video, the most current SDK 3 from that Vrchat provides. There we go. Okay, as you can see, importing the SDK 3 changes the lighting because Vrchat has a specific way the SDK sets up the lighting. What we're going to do next is import the dynamic bone package. The scripts have already been placed in the appropriate places on the presets. For the feline defaults, we will have to add them by hand to the Koiti bits that we will be importing into the package in a moment. What I recommend doing at this point is file saving, just in case. I'm going to open up in the hierarchy the sample scene, and in this guide I'm going to be choosing one of the no clothing presets, but you will be able to follow this guide and do basically the same thing using one of the clothed versions if you do choose. I'm going to choose the calico as the original base that I want to modify. And what I recommend doing with not just my packages, but any avatar packages you might use, is to duplicate Control D the base that you want to use. That way, if you mess up or if anything happens, you still have the original preset to go back and work from the beginning. We're going to move that out of the layer, and we're going to hide all of the versions that we are not going to be using, so there's no mix-up. Then I recommend moving this to 0. It will make putting the Koiti bits on a lot easier. Next we're going to do is we're going to open up the Koiti package. And we are going to drag the Koiti tails and fins FBX into the project. Before we go too much further, we have to go in here in the inspector and check Legacy Blend Shape and hit apply. That will make sure that any of the dynamic bone settings don't get too messed up. I'm going to drag this into the sample scene, and as you see, because we placed it at 0, 0, everything is already in place and scaled properly. What we're going to do next is create a folder for Koiti textures. We're going to go back to the Koiti folder and drag all of these into our project. Next, we are going to create the Koiti materials. This one's going to be oops, that is a folder, not a material. This is a material. Koiti body. I'm going to find the appropriate albedo, metallic, normal map, hit fix now, and then drag it onto the body. This body has scaled normal maps along with a bit of shininess. You'll be able to adjust these settings as you please in the Koiti Substance Painter files that I've provided. I've also, in the project, should be included the normal mapping stamp that I used, so that you'll be able to, and all of the layer settings that I've used, so that you'll be able to make your own patterns, make them look kind of scaled. Next, we are going to create 2 more materials. This one will be Koiti fins. We're going to drag our Koiti bits, whichever you prefer. Drag the appropriate materials or textures in, and then we're going to... there we go. Then we're going to drag these onto the Koiti bits. And also included in this package, you don't have to use it if you want to use your own eye textures, if you have some others. But I created a specific eyes paws material. Koiti paws. This one also has mission, normal, smoothness. Fix now. And before we go too much further with this, we need to change the rendering mode from opaque to cutout, so that way the blush does not have a big black bar across it. And it's easiest to drag this onto the paw pads. Alright, so we have the textures on this, but now we will need to unpack and make sure everything follows the main body. I'm going to go here to this prefab and unpack prefab completely. What I recommend doing next is going into the calico that we have, and we're going to delete the thin cat tail mesh and long feline tail, because this is going to be a fish. It's not going to have a cat tail. So, depending on if you wish to have the fan tail or the fish tail, will depend on which you wish to drag into the project. If you want, you can create an animation toggle so that you can toggle between the two's tails. I will include these toggles into the package. They might not be there at this time of recording, but they will be there later. Okay. This is where the trickiest part of this comes in, because in order to make the fins follow the body, I had to give them their own armature. So we are going to have to go through and match up the bones with the bones of the body, so that way it follows it naturally. A lot of clothing and other assets do this as well, because nobody has a one-fits-all clothing and options. This isn't Second Life. Okay, so I am going to do the long fishtail. I'm going to take the armature, I'm going to drag it into the hips, so that way that follows the hips. Long fishtail. I'm also going to grab the long fishtail mesh and put it into this layer so that it's a part of the whole avatar. Okay, spine, chest, neck, head. I'm going to start off with the head fin. I'm going to find the head fin chest and open it. Oh no, head fin chest. Drag that into chest on the cat. Head fin neck. Drag that into the neck. This one we can open up and grab the head. Drag it into the head. And there, now so there's a bone here to make sure that this part of the fin follows the chest. A bone here to make sure this part of the fin follows the neck. And a bone so that this part follows the head, along with some extra dynamic bone settings so that the fin isn't just stiff. I can give a demonstration too. I grab the head and I rotate it. See how it follows it? That's why I have to do it this way. Alright. Next we need to do the arms. So there's a left arm and a right arm. Excuse me. Close up. And neck, left shoulder, left arm, left elbow. These are the ones that we need. So arm fin, arm L goes into left arm. Arm fin, elbow L goes into left elbow. The fin L is a extra bone for the fin to do a bit of floppiness. We will be adding a dynamic bone to that later. We need to do what we just did to the right arm. So arm fin, arm R. Arm fin, elbow R. That is the right arm. Now we need to do the legs. So left leg, left knee, leg fin, knee L. Then right leg, right knee, leg fin, knee R. Okay. Trickiest part done. Now these will follow the body when they are moved. We can even just do a really quick test to make sure that everything follows. The only thing that shouldn't follow, see, is the tail. Is the fantail that we are not using. We can leave that out of this project. You'll just have to do, instead of with the long fishtail that I did, you will do the same with the fantail. Okay, because we're not, oh wait 1 second. I recommend also head, arms, feet, fins, just dragging it into this layer. Body, fins, armature, just to make sure that everything follows. Because we're not going to use this, we're just going to hide that. Alright, so now we have a Koiti, but now it's going to be awful stiff, so we're going to have to add dynamic bones. I recommend again, saving, now that we've gotten to this stage. Included in the package is my, where is it? Dynamic bone settings. You're going to have to go through and I've included the bones that these are connected to. So it helps if you have a dual monitor, but you're going to be doing this by hand. Alright, I'm going to again start at the head and work my way down. Alright, so this one is head fin op 01. So add component dynamic bone. I'm going to drag the head fin into the slot. And 0.2, 0.1, 0.8. Oh, whoop, no, that's the settings. This one's 0.5. 0.5. Headfin top. That's what this one is. Headfin tiny has the 0.8. So 0.2, 0.1, 0.8. And then drag that in. I'm also going to show you, does this? Yes, it has colliders. So if you want to be able to interact with your little fins and stuff like that, I recommend as you're adding in, okay, so colliders, as you're adding in the dynamic bones, you go down here to colliders. Because it's right on the top of the head, we're going to add 2 colliders. Adding colliders will automatically make your avatar lower rated for the Vrchat Sdk. Because of the amount of dynamic bones on this package, it will probably still be fairly rated, but if you add colliders, it's guaranteed it will be lower rated. If you don't really care about that and you just want to be able to touch your fins, go ahead, go nuts. Alright, so 2 colliders, and we need to find, where are they? Left shoulder, left wrist. No, left wrist. That's the one that we need. So, I'm going to drag left wrist and right wrist. That way both hands will play around with it. We're going to do this also with the tiny. 2 colliders. Left wrist, right wrist. I'm not going to add any colliders to the back fin because it's right at the back of the head. That doesn't need it. Head fin back. And this is 0.2, 0.1, and 0.5. I'm just going to do a quick test. Press play, click scene. I can grab this and... oops, come here. Jiggle, 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 jiggle. Okay, we are next going to add onto the arm fins while we're right here. You don't, unless you really want to play with the arm fins, you don't need to add collision to them. So arm fin elbow and fin L. This is where this one goes. Drag that in. Arm fin L is just 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, so we don't have to do any operations. Same with this one. Drag it in there. And we're also going to do the same for the legs. The legs don't need to have the dynamic bone script unless you just want it for fun. And we're all about fun, so we're going to do that. Knee R. Leg fin. Is that on it? I did. R. Dynamic bone. There we go. And last but not least, I'm going to close all these because we want to add dynamic bones to the tail. Longfish armature, long tail root, long tail 001. Add a dynamic bone, drag in the bone, and this one is a bit more specific. 0.159, 0.05, 0.382, 0.12. And just to make sure. There we go. Our fish is jiggly. Wee 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 wee. So, if you wish to play around with some of the dynamic bones, not dynamic bones, sorry, blend shapes on the body, to change some of the options because you can just, you don't have to make it look like this. You can make it look like pretty much whatever you want. If you want to have big round ears or big ears, just have fun with it. If you wish this to be female, then what we need to do is remove the male blend shapes and make sure we go into the boob bones and enable dynamic bone script, which I've already placed in. They even already have the colliders in with them, and and it's all jiggly. Good to go. So this is your cat. Looks nice, right? Now we need to import the animations so that you'll be able to do things like control the tail. So what we're going to do is create a new folder. Koiti animations. We're going to go to our package, animations, select all these and drag them into the Koiti animation folder. At this point, this is all just more drag and dropping. So we need to find the FX layer, have that open here. Come here. Here you. Alright. And we need to replace a couple of the hand gestures and expressions so that they control the head fin, because there's just a couple of twitches. The most important thing is being able to change the tail direction. So we're going to start with that. Open up the blend tree until we see this. And we are going to be replacing these with the Koiti animations. Reopen that. I do not have a tail wag idle just because of how jiggly the fishtail is. Koitail default. Koitail left. Koitail right. Koitail down. Koitail up. Make sure that everything connects. Put the back to 0. Good to go. So this now will control your tail once you're in game. The thing we need to do is need to change the gestures and the expressions. We're going to start with the gestures. And koi, excited, open hands. Koi, angry, finger gun. This one's also koi, excited, open hand. And go to expressions. Find excited, koi, and then angry, and koi, angry. They're two separate animations because for the expression radial, I have it so that the hands aren't controlled. For people that don't have index controllers, the hand gestures also pose the hands in a way that's better than the default Vrchat hand posing. It stretches things out really weirdly. Right. One more thing we have to do is we have to change the bounding box of the assets that we just added so that it matches the bounding box of the body. What the bounding box does is it makes it so that if you look away from the person's avatar, it will hide things from view. If you make the bounding box smaller than the bounding box of the body, those objects will disappear first. So sometimes you can see it, other people's hair or collars, those disappear suddenly if you look at them out of the edge of your eye. That's what the bounding box is. So in order to make sure that our bits don't do that, we need to make them, the bounding box, the same as the body. It's fairly easy to do. We need to select, so this is the bounding box. See this white box around it? That's literally just the bounding box. So what we need to do is, easiest I find, is make sure that it's flat view. Here in the renderer, and select edit bounds, hover over and see these little tiny dots. We need to make sure it's highlighted yellow and drag it so it's just bigger than the body. About there. So that's that way. Now we need to go drag. Okay, that's the same size. We need to do the same for the head and arms and feet fin. Drag them just bigger. I like making sure it's the same size as the tail, just so that, you know, everything's there. And also then even go into the body, edit bounds, drag this so that it encompasses the tail. I recommend doing this too to the eye caps. The eye caps aren't as big of a deal, but it just helps. So now we can... Yeah, that should do it. Now your bits won't disappear, which could be handy. Okay, so at this point, you'll be able to use the SDK and log into your account and follow the steps as if you have any other avatar and upload your own Koiti. Feel free to use this texture if you wish to change the colors or change the pattern. You can do that in the Substance Painter file. And just have fun with it. But if you wish to use the fantail, you'll have to just do the same thing that we did with the dynamic bone settings. I've included the script in the preset image. The tail animations will control both tails, so you don't have to worry about there being an extra. You just follow these steps and it will move around your fantail. So yeah, there you go. You can have your own Koiti. I hope this video was informative and made it a bit easier to upload this avatar. I hope that you enjoy using this avatar and make sure to send me pictures. I always like seeing what people do with my stuff. So yeah, I hope this helped and I hope you have a good day.